Well, hello, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Kohli. I'm so glad that we have some time together today to talk a little bit more about word analysis skills. When we use our word analysis skills, we're able to read very challenging text and be able to understand how to decode the words or sound out the words, and also be able to understand the meaning of these challenging words. So this is an important skill to learn, not only as second graders, but third graders and all the way up to college. And that allows us to be successful when we decide to go off to college and pursue different degrees. So very important to learn. So don't say, oh, I don't want to learn this. Say, I better learn this, and I'm going to learn it and learn it well. So let's jump into our lesson. As a quick review, we're going to look at the word reaction. Hopefully you had a positive reaction when I told you that we were going to be studying word analysis skills. As you recall from our last lesson, we did talk a lot about what prefixes are. They're the chunks of letters that come before a word or root or base word. And we talked about what suffixes were. And those were those chunks of letters that come at the end of our base or a root word. Today, our focus is more going to be on what are these root or base words? Like in the word reaction. If we go to the middle part of the word and we find a word, act, if we know what the word act means, then we should know what the word reaction means. Again, act, right? React. So somebody acted, and then if you react, you're going to go back and react to however somebody acted. So it makes it so we don't always have to use a dictionary, because a lot of times who carries their dictionary in their back pocket too? Not many of us. So let's have fun with our words. Here we go. But before we get started, we need to go back in time and decide and understand, where did our English language come from? And the answer is, it came from the Greek language and from the Latin language. And so when we speak English, just know it wasn't just invented as a language, but we took the best from different languages and created what we speak today, which is our English language. And all languages have like roots in Latin or, some other emphases from other languages too. So that's why sometimes when people speak a word, maybe in Spanish or maybe German or French, you might think, oh, I know what that means. I can hear the English sounds that make up our English word in their other language, right? Because we all have roots of languages that come from maybe Greek or the Latin language. Enough on that. But now let's talk about, what is a base word. So the base word, it says, is a part of that, the middle part of the word that can stand alone and that carries meaning. Meaning, these are the words without any prefixes and suffixes that you find in the dictionary. And those are in the dictionary. It tells us what those base words mean. Now, we also, if we were to take and we were to analyze words and take off prefixes and the suffixes, sometimes that middle part of the word, or that chunk there in the middle that we call our root or base word, we have no idea what it means because it's Greek or Latin, right? And we don't speak those languages other than the bits and pieces that we pulled to put into our English language. But you are going to be learning, as we are word detectives and we're analyzing these base and root words, you will start to almost learn a foreign language a little bit. And you're going to have to learn, oh, this is what soul means. It means the sun. Or bio means life. Or chron means time. And then as you become familiar with these roots, then when you see them as really big words, as a high school or a college student, you can say, oh yeah, I know what that means, because I know that biology means the study of life. And you just take all of the Latin and Greek and combine it and make words that we speak in our language. So just know that a true root word is a chunk of letters that maybe you don't understand because we don't speak Greek and Latin, but it does come from other languages, and that makes up our language. Okay, enough on this. I don't want to overdo. something and make it harder than it really is. But let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about here. So let's look at some Trueblue root words. So you'd look at, we have patter, or pater is kind of how it's really pronounced, pater. And that is, the meaning is father. It's a Latin word like paternal. That means it's your father. Or maybe mater, that means mother, and that's another Latin in origin, Latin form in origin of that root, like maternal. Then we have gen. Again, these are not going to be words found in dictionaries. These are the root part of the base word, where we would have to know the Greek language to understand what this means. So this is going to be like our translator here. So if you talk about words that have gen in it, like genetics or genes, you're talking about a Greek word that means birth, race, or a kind of person. Next, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper and understand a little bit more about these root words. So what I like to do when I get to a really big, hard, challenging word is always find that center part of the word, which we call the root word or the base word. And then from there, go to the prefix part and then go with the suffix part. And that usually helps me to understand the meaning of these hard words. So let's look at the word bicycle for a few minutes. So if we find that root word, we find the word cycle. Do you know what cycle means? Is it found in the dictionary? It is, isn't it? And in the dictionary, it's actually a Greek word. So I don't know if the dictionary would actually tell you it's a Greek word. Probably not, but my phone does. But cycle, the Greek form of the word cycle, means not a wheel, which the dictionary typically says, or it has different meanings in a dictionary. It actually means circle. So the Greek language of cycle is circle. And then bi means two. That's Greek also. So when you talk about a bicycle, you're talking about a circle or a wheel that's got two circles, and it's a bicycle that you can ride. So literally, that's what the word bicycle means. What about if I look at the word solar and I break it apart and I find the root word sol and my suffix is what does that really mean when we're talking about solar things? Well, sol is a Greek word that means sun. So when we're talking about solar panels, which are the panels that people put on their houses or in the ground that attracts sunlight and it converts it to energy, they're talking about sol, energy from the sun or sunlight. Another word is regenerate. So this word has a prefix and a suffix. So gen means what? Let's go back and find out what gen means. It's a Greek word. It means birth, race, or kind. So re means do it again. So you're going to recreate life or recreate some type of thing that you're making. That means to create it, orate. So regenerate, again, if you pull it apart and put it back together, you can understand what these words mean without always referring to a dictionary or your contextual clues. Okay, really quickly, we don't have time to spend too much time on this, but just know there's tons of lessons that you and your teacher can do together. This is just a review lesson today. So bio is a Greek word. It means life. I've already gone through it. Some of the words that you might be familiar with using the word bio is biology, biography, biochemistry, and biopsy. You can go ahead and read what each of those words means. I don't have time to help you with that right now, but just know you can stop this video and really search this out on your own if you'd like, if you're interested. Another root word is phone. And you've heard this one a lot in the English language. It's a root word that means sound. And words that have the word phone in it would be microphone, megaphone, homophone, phonics. And I can't read that one. Don't have my glasses, sorry. Another root word is the root word auto. It's Greek in origin, and it means self. So words that you might be familiar with would be autograph, automobile, automatic, autopilot, anonymous, autoimmune, and the one you can't see at the bottom is autobiography. Autobiography is great because it ties in both of our Greek words. It has 2 Greek words. And it actually has graphy too, which is another root word that means write. So autobiography would mean self, life, write. So we write about a book about our life, or the life of ourself. So it's so fun, boys and girls, to be a word detective. You can totally open up any book and see if you can use these skills to figure out what words mean without using the dictionary. That's always a fun thing to do when you're reading. Okay, so as a quick review, let's go through these. We have the root word bio. The biosphere is the word. The biosphere is the Earth's surface that is inhabited by living things. So which one of these answers would tell us what the Greek word bio means? Is it to, life, good, or book? Which one do you think it is? Did you say life? You got it. What about this root word, chron? Used in the word synchronize means to make things happen at the same speed. So what does the root word chron mean? Is it time, go, fast, or color? And the answer is A, time, like in chronology. It happens in a certain order, doesn't it? How about the root word dict? A prediction is a statement about how it will or might happen in the future. What does the root word dict mean? Is it secret, run, people, and then D should be say. Well, dict means to say something. Like when you predict, you say it before you read about it or learn about it. That's the pre part, so that's kind of fun to have the prefix with it. We've learned about that before. So yes, dict means say. What about deuce? Like in the word education is the process of teaching someone. What does the root word duck or deuce mean? I mean, it's Greek, so I don't really speak Greek. Does it mean A, lift, B is lead, C is give, and D is speak? When we talk about what education is, you're right, it's about leading. Good. How fun was that? Okay, just really quickly, you can see there's all kinds of fun activities that you can do where you can look at a word, and we kind of did this in our last activity where you separate it and say, well, that's the prefix, that's the root word, that's the suffix. Put them together, it makes this word. So you can look through this list by yourself and see how one might do this. I don't have the time to walk you through that step by step, but I did want to focus just a few minutes on what happens as a writer when we take a base word. These are words that are actually found in the dictionary. So they're base words, they stand alone as words. And if I want to add a suffix, let's say an ly, and make it into an adverb, right now, happy is an adjective, describes a noun. But if I put the ly on it, then it changes it to an adverb, and it describes how something is done, to what extent it's done. And that's it. So it's kind of modifying the verb or working with the verb. So what happens is we have to go back to our spelling patterns and how that what the rules are with our spelling patterns. So think about with the word if I want to spell happiness or happily, we sometimes have to drop the y, don't we, when we put endings on words. So in this case, all you would do, you would keep the base word the same. So I would take happy. Again, I'm just showing you how you would take this lesson and change it just a little bit to make it correct spelling too. So you're going to drop the y. In its place, you're going to add I, happy, and then you just add the suffix to it. So not too bad, not too many changes on that one. What if you say, oh, he's such a gentle person, or he acted gently when he was around the dog? So see, we have things changing a little bit when you go from an adjective to an adverb. So gentle has an E, and it already has a Y, or an L, I'm sorry. It already has an L there. So in this case, we have to change things up a little bit because the L's here, and it already had the vowel there. We leave this vowel here. So we're going to say G-E-N-T, gent. Instead of having gentle, all we do is we add the ly. So we'll save this part of the lesson for another day, a rainy day when we have time to talk a little bit more about our spelling patterns and the rules that go along with the English language. The English language, I know sometimes is a little bit of a challenge for any of you that have learned other languages, which I have. I learned German. It's a chore. I mean, what can you say? And it's easier to speak it than to write it. And so it's just that daily practice. The more you do something, you get really good at it. Boys and girls, I know you're going to be an awesome word detective and great at word analysis if you just put in a little bit of time and it makes sense to you. So I hope you had fun with this lesson, and I would challenge you today to open up one of your big brother or big sister's books and just read a paragraph or so and see if you can find a hard word. Try to find that root word and see how many prefixes and suffixes you can pull apart and see if you can make sense out of that word. I challenge you to do that, and I know you can. Have a great day. I sure enjoyed talking with you. Until next time, bye-bye.